All right, everyone, in this episode, we're going to unbox and review the new Analogue Duo. All right, everyone, so we've got an Analogue Duo here. Let's get this thing unboxed and then take a little closer look at it. So here we have the box, and it's typical of all the other Analogue products. It's this like flat black finish, and then we've got Duo here in the front. This looks pretty nice. Flip it over. Here we've got Analogue Duo console USA. So that just means the version. This is the USA version that I went with as far as the color combo goes. So let's open this up. So here's the console itself, and you know, I think it looks pretty good. They were trying to get that original Turbo Duo look out of this thing, and it's very similar to that. Across the top here, we've got the Analogue logo. It states Analogue Duo. And then over here, we've got digital CD-ROM system, FPGA. In the front, we've got our power button, the HuCard slot, the disk drive. If we go around to the back, we've got our plug for the power, 2 USB ports, an HDMI, and an SD card slot here. The bottom is similar to the other consoles they make. It's got this little rubber piece on here to grip on better to the surface, whatever you set it on, and that's nice. And overall, the weight of it feels nice. It's not too light, not too heavy. I think they did a good job there. Let's see what else is in the box real quick. All right, so inside here we've got this piece of plastic, and we've got our power adapter here. And this is the power adapter, similar to the other power adapters that Analogue makes. I don't know if this is exactly the same as the other ones they make, but it looks similar. I am glad that they make their own and that they provide these with their consoles. Not all companies do that. I think it's great that they do. And we've got a couple cords. So we've got our power cord here. And again, it's their own cords. It's branded with their logo on it. I think it's good that they do this. And then we've got another cord. This is the HDMI, yep. And we've got this little card. I think this is to scan for instructions or something here. So we've got a sticker, a little logo for Analogue, and then yeah, Analogue Duo Quick Start. Some instructions on the back of the card as well. One thing I forgot to show you guys on the console was on the left-hand side, we've got the controller port. We've got a headphone jack, the volume for the headphone jack, and then this button right here for pairing wireless controllers. So as far as the console goes, looking at it aesthetically, the way it feels, I think they did a good job. It's not a cheap made product. It doesn't feel like it is. And considering I've used the majority of their other products, I'm sure that this is a well-made product. But you know, one thing I will say is the original console that this is based off of had a door that would open up here that you could put the CDs in instead of just putting it through the front, and I like that a little better, but it is what it is. I mean, that's kind of nitpicky. But what we're going to do is we're going to test out a few games on this thing. We're going to test out a original HuCard game. We've got Alien Crush here, so we'll test this out. Then we're going to test out JB Harold Murder Club. So this is a CD game. And then we're going to test out our Turbo Everdrive Pro. Now, I've seen some other people do reviews on this, and supposedly we have to remove these screws from the top cover to get this to go in. But we're going to try that and see how it works and everything for ourselves, and show you guys in case you haven't seen any of the other videos. But we're going to also be trying this out. So we will test this out with those games, and then we'll give you some feedback of what we think, because we've got the original TurboGrafx 16 and have played it, of course, and we'll just give you our comments of what we think, and if we think this is the best way to play those games and if it's worth it or not. All right, everyone, so here we are at our main menu for the Turbo Duo. Now I did start this a little bit ago and I went ahead and set up the date and time. That's what it automatically pops up, and you can go through a tutorial if you would like to show you how to do different things on here. If you're familiar with the Analog Pocket, the menu and everything here is almost identical to that one, so it's pretty straightforward. I like the ease of the menu because it is simple to use, but what I don't like about it is the fact that it's pretty generic looking. And when you compare the Analog Super NT, the Analog Mega SG, both of those look better in my opinion than this. And also on the startup, with the way those other consoles have that analog logo that goes in and out with different images, I think that's cool. It adds some identity to the consoles instead of just being like a Me Too or a generic thing. And that's what this looks like to me. It looks generic. For the Pocket, I think they can get away with it because it's a handheld device. But I mean, this isn't. This is a console that you're plugging in your TV, and you see the memories right in the middle of the screen. It just, I don't know. I don't like it. Again, it's easy to use and that's fine, but I think they could have did more. I know they could have did more, especially considering I think the other consoles look better than this. So, you know, they should have did a better job on this. But anyhow, we see insert game up here at the top. That's because I don't have a game currently loaded into the console. Library. You'll notice here it says using library requires an SD card. I don't have an SD card set up. But what happens is whenever you put an SD card in here and you play a game, it'll save the games that you've played. Why do you need to do that? I don't know, but you can do it. Memories, same thing. You got to have an SD card. You can do screenshots and things with this if you want to do that, and it'll be saved onto that SD card. Controllers. So right now we've got a 8-bit DOE TG16 2.4G wireless gamepad. That's what we're using to play everything. It seems to be working okay. Tested out some different games and things and it seems to be all right. But that's what we are using right now. If you want to pair different controllers, you can do that here. No problem. You can change the order, whatever you're wanting to do. Settings. Now this is where we go in and we can do some different things. We'll just go up to the top, Duo. Here we've got video. This is where you can change the resolution. We're going to leave it at 1080p 60 Hertz, but you can do whatever you want to do. That's the point here. Audio. There's a headphone jack on the side of this thing. So if you want to change it to a high impedance for the headphones, here's where you can do that. Global reset. If we want to reset it, we can do it here. We're not messing with that, but you can do it there. We'll go into system. Now let's go into video. Here's where we can change some different things. You see color palettes. This is where you can change the colors that are going to be used on the screen. And it's really up to you what you like and what you prefer, but the point is that they give you the option to play around with it a little bit to give it whatever look you're looking for. Sharpness, again, you want to change the way everything looks, you can do that here, or you can just leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone for right now. Size. So this is where you can change the size of the image itself. If you want to broaden it up to widen it to a modern widescreen TV, then you can do that here. If you want to leave it as is, you can also do that. It's really up to you what you want to do. Show overscan. So we can take a look and see what that looks like here in a minute once we get a game playing, but we'll leave it alone for right this minute. Audio, HuCard audio, HuCard volume. So I'm not real sure what this means by HuCard audio, if it means it's going to be less or more as far as the volume goes, but we can try it out whenever we try a game here in a minute and see if we can notice any differences. Region. So we can either put it on USA or Japan, or we can do auto detect. If we're playing games from different regions, that's whenever you would select that. We're just going to leave it on auto detect and it can do the job for us. Super Graphics. So the Super Graphics console, I think they only made 5 or 6 games for that console anyway. But if you're going to try to play those games on here, then you can either set it to be on or off or auto detect. We'll just leave it as auto detect. I don't have any of those physical games, so we're not going to mess with that right now. But we may try it on our Turbo Everdrive and see what it does. CD-ROM. So this is just like Sega had the Sega CD. This is no different. The TurboGrafx and the PC Engine, they had CD-ROM games as well, and that's what we've got here. We've got CD-ROM, Super CD-ROM, and Arcade CD-ROM. You can either select one of those if you want to go directly into a specific game, or you can leave it as is to do auto detect. We're just going to leave it as is. Okay, so we can reset things if we want. We're just going to leave everything alone the way it is, and once we get a game playing, we'll go in here and we'll play around with everything to see what it looks like. Let's get back to our main menu. So we got Analog OS. So This is on a startup if you want to go directly into a game that's installed, or if you want to go into this menu, this is where you can change that. You can change the date and time. Again, I already set that up when I initially booted this up, so there's no reason for us to mess with it right now. Library. So again, if we have a SD card installed and you're going to start playing different games, then it'll show you what games you've played. I don't know if that's really necessary or not, but maybe somebody likes that. I don't know. I don't really care myself. About, so this is where we can go Analogue OS. This is going to show us the version that we've got installed. I got this in December. It's had it for about a month now. We're just now getting a chance to unbox this thing and play around with it, and it's just got the original operating system on it. I haven't changed anything, and that's what we're going to be playing on here. User guide. So there is a manual. If you scan the QR code on your phone or whatever device you're using, it'll take you to that, and it'll walk you through the steps of how to do everything. Also, there's a tutorial. Whenever you initially start up the console, it'll ask you if you want to do the tutorial or not. Just like here, start, skip. So if you want to, you can do that. We're not going to mess with it. All right, so let's go back. Now we're back at the main menu. We've taken a look at everything so far that we can on here. You'll notice it just says insert game. I don't have any games installed, but what we're going to do right now is we're going to insert our HuCard of Alien Crush. Okay, you see that Play Alien Crush pulled up as soon as I had put the HuCard in, and it looks pretty neat, but the problem is it's limited to a certain amount of characters. So you get into some Japanese games and things where they've got this crazy long title, you can't see it. And that's because this is the same menu as what's on the Analogue Pocket, and we all know that the Analogue Pocket is a handheld device. The screen isn't very large, so you wouldn't be able to read it all anyways. But it's a shame they couldn't have done something more with this menu for this console. So let's jump into the game. Now, whenever you initially hit it, you've got some just general information that pulls up here. I guess this is important to somebody. Again, me, I don't really care, but I'm sure some people would like to see this. Let's just go to play game. All right, so everything started up just fine. It looks good, it sounds good, just like it should. Now let's go to our menu and let's play around with some things and see what we can come up with here. So to do that, what you're gonna do is you're gonna hit select and the down on your D-pad at the same time, and that's gonna pull up our menu. Now we'll just let the game play in the background so that we can take a look at some stuff here. So there's some different options here. We've got quit, we've got game detail. Again, that's going to be that same information we looked at a minute ago. Memories. So this is where you can do screenshots and things if you've got an SD card installed. Controllers. Again, we can go through, you can add, remove controllers. But we're going to go into settings, Duo, and system. All right, so we got video, and as you can see, we can see the game playing in the background. So I think that's good here so that we can get an idea of how everything is going to change one way or the other. So color palette, RGB, composite. You'll notice that when I change to RGB, it actually makes the colors a little bit more vibrant than the composite. The composite's a little darker looking. I don't know necessarily that one's better than the other, it's just different. Well, let's just leave it at the RGB for right now to check it out and see what happens. Sharpness. So we can go down or we can go up. Now, as you notice, the further down we go, the more blurry the image gets. Maybe some people would like that, I don't know. But we're just going to take it all the way back up like we had it on 3. And really what it's doing is it's giving more definition to those individual pixels. It gets a little bit more blurry as you go down and kind of blends things in, which isn't bad, it's just a different look. But we're going to go all the way up like it was. All right, let's take a look at size. So this comes 1440 by 1080, that's the standard setting on this. If you want to fill up the whole screen, all you have to do is hold down right on your, or left, you can go left and it makes it smaller, but if you hold down right on your directional pad, it'll take up the whole screen, and this is what it'll look like. Some of these games can get away with it okay by stretching the pixels out. They don't look too bad, but some of them just look really off. because you know you're making the pixels rectangular instead of square. I'm just going to go back to what it originally was. I think it looks a little better. There we are. All right, so let's go back and let's see what the overscan looks like. So if you notice, it brought it in to be more of a true square format, which is more like, again, the original looked. We take it off, it widens it up a little bit. So it's really zooming in to be the screen the way it was originally supposed to look. You'll see that you can see more of the art on the top and bottom of the screen like this. If I turn it off again, the skull at the bottom between the two flippers is cut in half. So we're going to go ahead and go with the overscan option just so that we can see everything. All right, let's go back. And that's it. Now let's get in and let's play this game a little bit and see what we think. So, you know, this thing looks pretty good in my opinion. We've got that RGB selected. I think it looks pretty good. Sounds like it should sound. Okay. Ah, right down the middle, go figure. All right, we'll play it for another minute here. I think everything's working just as it should though. All right. Bonus. Let's go. And this looks really good right now. All the colors are very vibrant. Ah, go figure. I think that music right there sounds kind of like something you would hear off the original Phantasm movie. Man, look at this. The text and everything looks really great right there. Man. Okay, what do we got here? Bonus, here we go. Up, right down the middle again, go figure. And we ain't doing too hot on this bonus level. Anyways, you get the point. I mean, I think everything's playing and sounding and looking just like it should, and with the settings that we got, I think this is probably as good as it's gonna look. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pause it and we're gonna hop out of this game because otherwise I'll be here messing around with this all day. So let's go back to our menu. We're gonna hit the down on the directional pad and select. And then we're gonna go to Quick Game, confirm. Okay, so now we're back at the main menu. And what we're gonna do is we're going to remove the Alien Crush game and we are going to insert a CD game, JB Harold Murder Club, and see how it plays. Now, one thing I'll note here, I'm putting the CD in and you've got to push it a long way in before it actually engages. I've got it, let me see. Okay, I pushed it all the way in and there may have been 3/4 of an inch hanging out of the console before it actually engaged. That's interesting because typically you go maybe halfway in and that's whenever it'll get pulled in. And this was, you had to insert it almost all the way in before it would actually pull the CD completely in. So look at the top here, we've got play JB Harold. So this is, now it is acknowledging that the CD has been installed. And as I mentioned earlier, you notice that you can't see the full name because of the way they got this menu set up. So I don't know, for me, I can't believe that they didn't put a little bit more thought into this, the way this is set up. But let's hop into this game and see what we got. Now this is a CD based game, so we'll see how it works. Look at those scary eyes. All right, let's get this thing going here. Hi JB, how's the investigation going? So a lot of these CD games, before we get into this, I'm not real crazy about a lot of the CD games, just because a lot of them, they're not really games per se. You'll see an image and then you make a remark and then it takes you to another part. And they were really trying to capitalize on these CDs as far as the sound quality and the image, being able to bring real images into this view. So it's just different. Some of the games are all right, but I was never really crazy about these things. But here we go. Anyways, let's go to the next, see what it says. You know, if anyone can solve this case, you're the one, says Catherine with a smile. All right. So we got go out, identification, record room, prosecution, interrogation. Let's go out. You hit the road in search of leads. All right. Where do we want to go here? All right. Let's go to B. Robbins' house. You arrive at the victim's house. Okay. Let's go inside. Can I help you? Asks the man who comes to the door. What is your blood type? Interesting. What is your name? I'm Fred Robbins. After my brother died, his wife Janet went to stay with her parents. I'm house sitting for her. Ah, sure you are. Okay. So why would we care about a name? What's your blood type? Why not? My blood type is A. Yeah, like you would tell somebody that. Why would they ask that? What's your occupation? I work for the HH company. What's your age? I'm 30 years old. Okay. What's your family? My father Edward, my late brother Billy, my sister Kate, my brother-in-law Michael Holding. Okay. And Pamela, our housekeeper, who's just like family to us. I bet she is. Hobby. I like to play tennis. Yeah, whatever. Special skills. I'm an expert marksman. Ooh. So he probably shot somebody. Let's get native place. I was born here in the town. Organizations. I belong to the White Hawk Club. Interesting. Call someone else. There's no one else around. Do you know Simon Randall? Nah, he's an old friend of my father. He knows Bill and me since we were little. Okay. Sarah Shields. I don't know her. Paul Davis. I don't know him. Stanley Howard. I don't know him. Show warrant. You don't have a search warrant for the premises. No. Okay. Go out. Let's get out of here. You leave the house. All right. So what do we see here, you guys? I mean, this is just like all the other analog consoles. It looks really good. The pixels are very well pronounced. The sound is good, which should be expected anyways from a CD game, but it's playing it well. I don't see any issues or hear any issues with anything. Let's go somewhere else. You hit the trail. Yeah, whatever. Where do we want to go? Police. There we go, back with her. How's the investigation? It's just peachy. All right. Identification. All right, so this isn't a bad game, but it seems very boring, and I'm not going to spend the time doing it. I'd rather be playing Alien Crush than this thing any day of the week. But anyhow, everything seems to be working okay. I don't see any issues with it. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a step away from the original games, and we're going to insert our Turbo Everdrive Pro check out a couple games on there and then give you our thoughts on that. So let's go back to the menu. We're gonna hit down and select Quit Game, confirm. Okay, so we're back at the main menu. Now let's get our game out. So I just hit eject on the console, and I will say that it sounded rough. The CD, the motor at least that's pushing the CD out, it sounded like it was working pretty hard to get this thing out. And this is brand new too. And this is the very first time I even pushed the button. So that's kind of scary. I don't know what the longevity is going to be with that CD drive, but it don't sound healthy right now. Now I will say one thing. They've got a rubber part that goes in there so you can slide the game through to keep dust out, and that was pretty tight. So I'm assuming that because of that it was having a hard time pushing it back through. But again, this is brand new. I wouldn't have expected to hear anything like that from a brand new console, but it is what it is. Now we're going to insert our Turbo Everdrive. All right, so we've got that installed. Now one thing I'll say here is that I had to remove the case from the top of the Turbo Everdrive Pro card. It's got this little piece that's screwed onto the top. I had to unscrew it and take that off to be able to insert this because there's not enough space, clearance space in the hole on the front of the console to put the card in. So that definitely isn't great for this console because a lot of the people that are going to be using this are going to want to use that Turbo Everdrive cartridge because let's just face it, these things, the games for this console are very expensive and they're rare. Not only do they cost a lot, but it's not easy to see all of them, to play all of them. So a lot of people's going to want to use that Turbo Everdrive card, and it's unfortunate that they wouldn't have made this space just a little bit larger to be able to insert that in. Now you could obviously go in and you could modify the housing if you wanted to, maybe take a file and remove some material, but I don't know that anybody would want to do that, especially after just purchasing this thing. So just something to take into consideration. But we've got it installed now. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go in and try to play a couple games. Here we are. So we're at our menu for the Turbo Everdrive Pro card that we've got. And I've got some different folders set up on here. So we've got our Super Graphics, PC Engine, TurboGrafx 16. This is going to be the HuCard games, and then we've got the CD-based games. Now, one thing I will state is I tried to play some CD games, and I could not get the audio to work. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Maybe there's going to be an update, if there isn't already, that maybe there is, from Analogue, where you can update the firmware to be able to play those games. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter to them too. I don't know, but if there is an option to do that, put a note below because I would definitely like to be able to play those CD games on here. But when I boot them up, you can see everything. Everything looks great. You just can't hear anything. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if, again, if there's some type of an update for the Analogue Duo that I don't know of yet that I can do that. But if anyone knows that's watching this video, please put a link down below or some type of a instruction for me. I would really appreciate that. Okay, we're going to try out a Super Graphics game. There's only a few of them anyways, so let's see if we can't get one of these to play. All right, here's Battle Ace. Man, it looks and sounds great right now. All right, let's get this thing started, see what we got. Music sounds great. Okay. Oh boy. Yes, everything seems to be working just fine. I think I'm missing all of my targets just like I should. Oh. Oh yeah, but this thing is working great. At least I think so. Come back here. All right. Yeah, so this is a pretty cool game. Everything's working, working good. It sounds good. Everything looks very good. So I think this is a success here. This is working good. All right, now let's go back to the main menu again. All right, you guys, so you've seen that the Super Graphics game worked just fine. It actually looked really good. But let's get into some HuCard games, see what we got here. So let's do, let's try Atomic Robo Kid. Let's check this out. This is a cool game. There we go. All right. And this is sounds and looks great. No issues at all. Damn it, other than me just dying here. All right, let's go. Oh boy. Oh boy. That guy's not messing around, is he? Well, I died. Anyways, hey, it looks and sounds great. No issue there. So let's go back and we'll try another game. Let's try some Bonk. Bonk 3, let's do this. Oh boy, it looks good. Alright, let's do this. Yeah, so this, I mean, it looks great. There we go. There we go. All right. Yeah, so everything looks really good on here. It sounds good. Let's go. All right. Boing. All right. Yeah, so this is playing great. I mean, everything looks really good. The colors are very vibrant. The pixels, all the pixels stand out really well. I think, oh boy, I think they did a great job here. All right, so let's get out of this. Let's see what other games we can check out real quick. Bloody Wolf. Let's do this. Oh, sounds awesome. All right. Code name. A, B, C, there we go. We don't care. Let's just play the game. Yep. You're out of here. All right. Die. Die. Oh, we got a shotgun. All right. What's up, bro? Need some help? Okay. This is playing great. Looks good. Sounds good. It's a hell of a shotgun we got going on here. Oh yeah. I guess I can't go back and save the guy. He's just stuck on top of that building now, or the car. Too bad for him. All right. Anyways, everything's working fine on here. It looks good. Let's do it right. Let's do a shooter game while we're on here. Let's do Blazing Lasers. Let's check this bad boy out here, and then we're going to call it a day. All right, so everything looks really good so far. Oh boy, going fast. I'm not great at shooters, and I'm not afraid to admit that either. I have a hard time figuring out where my character's at all the time for some reason, but we're gonna try it just the same. Man, this looks really good. Man, I keep missing those. Okay. Yeah, so everything looks good. At least I think so. And all kinds of upgrades. I should be getting a lot of upgrades. I keep missing the damn things. Come on. Right. There we go, homing missiles. Oh, we got this little buddy now. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, so yeah, this thing is playing pretty good here. All right. Now I will say on this particular game, and I think it's probably just the file itself, the sound is a little bit low and it seems a little distorted at times. Oh my God, how could I have avoided that? Okay, anyways, here's this game. I mean, it looks and sounds pretty good. The sound needs to be a little louder, but everything's playing good, and man, it looks great. This is the Turbo Everdrive Pro. It seems to be working really good. No major issues other than the fact that we can't hear the CD games. And again, I'm not sure why that is. So if you know, please let me know down below, and we'll try it out. But that's it for the gameplay of this review. We've checked out the Alien Crush HuCard game, JB Harold Murder Club game, that was on CD, and now we've tried out the Turbo Everdrive Pro card from Krikzz. All right, everyone, you just seen us unbox and review the Analogue Duo. Now, we purchased this mainly because we've got a TurboGrafx 16, and I wanted an easy way to have HDMI out to go to the TV and do game capture. This one on pre-sale, I think around spring or summertime of last year. I ordered it because, honestly, the way everything goes analog related, if you don't buy it right then, you're pretty much SOL. So I picked it up, and I thought if it don't work out, I can always just sell the thing and go from there. But I want to go over some of the pros and cons that I found with this system to maybe help you make a good decision on whether or not you would like to purchase it. All right, now let's talk about the pros. All right, we got HDMI out that you can either run directly to your television or easily do game capture. That's definitely a pro. The user interface is very easy to use. There's not a lot of options. It's easy to go through and select what you need to select. I think that's another pro. You can have 1080p video, which it looks very good, at least in my opinion, which it's pretty much come to be expected from all the analog consoles at this point. Even the Analog Pocket, whatever you're using,
they do a very good job with that video output, and that was one of the main reasons I wanted this to begin with. Adjustable audio and video options to let you make the screen the size that you want it, to look the way you want it, and sound the way you want it. I think that's a plus for this system, just like all the other analog devices. And the last thing would probably be the ability to play HuCards and CD-ROMs directly on that same device. I think that's good, which is obviously it's similar to what this was based off of, the Duo system that NEC made many years ago. But I think the functionality of having them both there is definitely a plus. All right, now let's talk about the cons. So up first, I want to talk about the elephant in the room here, and that is Krikzz's Turbo Everdrive Pro. Now, maybe not everybody, but a lot of the people that's going to buy this thing to begin with are the same people that's going to use either the Krikzz Turbo Everdrive or some sort of a flash card, just because these games are so damn expensive and so hard to find that it just doesn't make sense in a lot of cases. So people will purchase the Krikzz Turbo Everdrive Pro and they'll try to use it on here. And the problem is, well, there's two problems. First problem is it physically won't fit. And I don't know why Analogue, they should know that a lot of the people that buy this are going to knock it for this specific point. I don't know why they couldn't have made that just a little bit larger so that you could slide that in there without having to modify anything or take anything apart. So that's definitely a downer in my opinion, and all the other reviews and everything I've heard from everybody else says the same thing. I mean, why not make that just a little bit wider so that you could have fit that in there without any issues? And then another point that I want to make specifically to the Turbo Everdrive Pro is we can run CD-ROM games from our original TurboGrafx 16 using that. And unfortunately, with the Analogue, you can't. There's no audio for the CDs. Now, that may be something that's going to be updated, but you know, we just unboxed this and played it when we first got it, and I don't know, maybe they're going to have an update at some point in time that it will be able to acknowledge that file and you can hear it. Everything looks good and you can play it, you just can't hear anything. It's a shame. So again, I think that Analogue kind of missed the boat as far as the Krikzz Turbo Everdrive on this, because again, it's going to be the same people that are using both devices. You would think they would have taken that into consideration and done this a little bit differently. All right, this next point is, it's more of an aesthetic issue. It doesn't have anything to do with the functionality, but it's just the user interface looks so cheap, that menu from Analogue. And it's the same one they used on the Pocket, which I get it on the Pocket because you've got the small screen and you don't want to make anything too big. You need to be able to see it, so that makes sense. But this isn't a small screen here. We're running this directly to the TV, you got plenty of room. Why couldn't they have used the same one or a similar one to the Super NT or the Mega SG? Those work great, they look great, why not use that? So I got to knock some points on this thing just for the fact that it seems like they rushed, threw it together, used what they had instead of spending a little bit of time to do a little finesse on this and actually make it look a little better than what it already does. Another point to bring up is the fact that the controller port is on the side of the console. And yes, that's the way the original one was, okay. But why not put it in the front? This doesn't have to be identical to the original. It's not anyway. It doesn't work exactly like the original. So why not make it user-friendly? Why not put the controller ports just on the front, just like the other consoles, and make it easier for you to use? You know, if you're putting this in an area where you don't have a lot of room left to right, well, you've got to deal with that damn cable, if you're going to use a cable. And maybe they figured, well, nobody's going to use a cable, they're just going to use wireless controllers. Well, if that's the case, why even put the port there to begin with? So again, this is something that I think they could have spent a little bit more time on and made it a little bit better. All right, and last, but definitely not least, the CD drive on this thing, I don't have a lot of confidence in it. And the reason why I say that, for one thing, you got to put the CD almost all the way in before it'll actually grab it and pull it in. And when it pushes it out, there's just enough sticking out to grab a hold of the CD. And it shouldn't be like that. When it comes out, there should be enough room where you can get your finger into the hole in the middle of the CD, so you don't have to worry about getting any kind of marks or anything on the bottom of those CDs, especially for this console, because those games are very expensive and you don't want to risk tearing anything up, especially just because the drive doesn't push the CD all the way out. That's silly. But the bigger issue to that is it's noisy. And whenever I ejected the CD, there's a lot of foam where the CD goes in to make sure it's clean, and I get that. but the CD was the drive itself was very noisy when it was ejecting that CD. And it makes me question, what's the lifetime of this thing? A big reason why a lot of people is going to buy this is because those older consoles are falling apart for the same reason, the CD drives. So you would think that, you know, they would spend the money and get something that works a little better, a little quieter, something that's going to last. Hey, this thing ain't cheap anyways, so what's the big deal about spending a little bit more money and charging the customers a little bit more money to get something that's really going to last? All right, so you heard what I had to say in regards to some of the pros and cons. You're going to have to make a decision for yourself on whether or not this makes sense. To me, I'm still up in the air on whether I want to play games on the TurboGrafx 16 or through this thing. I like the idea of being able to just do the HDMI directly out, but there's some options that you can do for the TurboGrafx 16 to get around some of those issues anyway. So I'm not 100% sold on this console. I think they did a great job on the Super NT and the Mega SG, but unfortunately this one just kind of, it doesn't live up to that expectation. So, hey, we really appreciate you guys for tuning in this video. We hope that you liked it, and until next time, keep gaming.